A Villain in Venice, Jane of the Air, Book 1. A steampunk detective and aviatrix and part-time spy. Available now. All profits to the NHS.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time, well, I've decided to return to the 20 for 20 celebrations that I was doing. Do you remember those? I know it's been a while. But real life does tend to get in the way. Now, we were only at number 8 of the 20, and this was Big Finish main range release number 84, The Nowhere Place. It was released way back. We're talking 14 years ago, in 2006. I still cannot get my head around the fact that we're in the 2000s, and a futuristic date like 2006 is 14 years in the past. It genuinely messes with my head. This does not feel like the future. I'm pretty sure that in 2020 people aren't sure what this year feels like at all. Now remember, TV had just brought Doctor Who back. July 2006, we're still suffering from the whole post-Ninth Doctor leaving thing. We're still not completely sure where the series is going. Sales at Big Finish apparently had crumbled because everyone had just gone, "Oh, Doctor Who's back on the telly now, I don't need to buy the discs anymore." This does push Big Finish in a whole events style of marketing direction, but that's not really worth going into right now, because I'm sure there's a whole podcast can be done by marketing teams who know much more about these things than me. Now this time it's release number 84, The Nowhere Place. Written by Nicholas Briggs, directed by Nicholas Briggs. It's got Nicholas Briggs in it. The only thing he didn't do was sing the theme tune and write the theme tune. Yeah, that's a very old joke. Sorry. Synopsis. 2197. The fighter carrier Valiant has just crossed Pluto's orbital path. Its captain is expecting trouble from alien raiders. She is not expecting the Doctor and Evelyn. She does not believe members of her crew when they say they can hear an ancient bell ringing. A bell that strikes terror into their hearts. 1952. The turret-class locomotive Ivy Lee is hurtling through the night. On board, there should only be 2 passengers, both of them carrying documents from the War Office. But now there are 2 unexpected visitors on the train. One is the guard with ill-fitting trousers, and the other is an excessively dotty old lady. The Doctor and Evelyn have arrived at time's end is approaching. There's something very appealing about Doctor Who and steam trains. Perhaps it's the whole steampunk vibe. Before steampunk even had a name, Doctor Who was doing it. It had a whole Jules Verne 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea approach to things. Now, I seemed to remember, looking back on this, that it had some trains in it. And actually, looking at the title, I thought it was the scary one with the talking teddy bears. And I was very wrong. I had largely, forgotten this story. Now, here's the thing. Because I'd forgotten this story, that worked in its favour, because in my head I went, oh, it's a Doctor and Evelyn story that I have no memory of. Can you see where I'm going with this? I got to experience a Doctor and Evelyn, who, to my money, are by far one of the best pairings on audio of any Doctor relationship. Evelyn just keeps the Doctor in his place, and it's just beautiful. Now, because Maggie's no longer with us, we don't get any more Evelyn stories, and that is heartbreaking. So this felt like a little present, a surprise, a little gift just for me. It was like, yeah, here we are. It was what people must experience when TV Doctor Who's returned to the archives. In fact, if anything, I was more excited about this than an animated, well, Dalek story. Yes, and I know there are people out there who get the alarm bells ringing the minute you see written by and directed by, because what you need is edited by someone else, kept in check. Now, I know there's a whole auteur theory thing, and if you don't know what that is, it means basically if a story, a film specifically, is created for an audience, it is usually the vision of a writer. Then that vision is taken, diluted, changed, and often improved, often knocked back a bit, and the focus is moved by a director. Similarly, the producer, the person with the cash, would also change things in order to make things more affordable or to make things more akin to their vision. Now, an auteur, in auteur theory, is someone who's a writer and director and often producer, because they produce the unfiltered vision. Now, for a lot of people, especially in the UK, in the reviewing world, this rings alarm bells. It makes them go, oh yeah, but it's just one person's unfettered vision. Why is that a bad thing? Well, in French filmmaking specifically, it's never seen as a bad thing because you've got the pure passion and pure vision, which is something that, culturally speaking, is very important to them. So, given that exciting trip down memory lane for me and the world of film theory, that's what you see when you see written and directed by, because the guy's already down as executive producer. Except, of course, is he at this point? I'd have to look that up, and I'm a very lazy man. But that just does not affect this story. Yes, you've got two, not even parallel storylines. You've got a beginning taking place in space, you've got a middle taking place in the past, and then you've got an end which brings the two together. You've got the Sixth Doctor wondering what's going on, lost, terrified. It's a very, very good performance, some spectacular writing. And yes, the overall story does kind of bring into questioning the whole Skaroth of Jaggeroth thing and a lot of stuff that's gone on in the past. But if you don't think about it and you just see it for what it is, it still works. It actually still works with Doctor Who continuity. It's a Nick Briggs story. Of course it's going to fit somewhere. It is going to work. No Daleks, brand new creatures, brand new villains and monsters. And it just works. I don't want to tell you any more of the storyline, because storyline-wise, you've got some cracking performances. And Martha Cope's in this, who's the daughter of Kenneth Cope, who was, yeah, you know that. Martha's great. She really does need to be in more stuff. Genuinely. Her performances all round are just superb. I cannot emphasise enough how much of a treat this was just to hear more Maggie. Here's the trailer. Decide for yourself, and I'll come back, and I promise I won't leave it as long. Because next time, he said, turning the page in his tiny little TARDIS notebook, is number 9, The Wishing Beast, released July 2007. But until next time, be seeing you.
Fighter carrier Valiant. Comms package Alpha 704, transmitting at ship time 1340 hours, January 15th, 2197. Standard defense drills in progress. Rigorous schedule. We must be ready for the fight when it comes.
No, please. Don't.
No, not nowhere. There's something out there.
Sectors 11 and 12 are now clear for radiation testing. He's our finest pilot. And he just jeopardised the operational efficiency of Earth's frontline defences. Defences that all our lives depend upon.
Wing leader, we show your targets now breaking for cover.
We see it, XO. Now in pursuit.
Watch those iron trails, O'Keefe. They kill.
You know those dreams? When you go back home? Your childhood home. It's a steam train.
What is it?
Well, don't you recognise the sound?
What sound?
And everything's changed.
Thank God. Thank God.
You know it should be familiar, but not one thing is as you remember it. As it should be.
There is no bell. Get a grip of yourself.
I heard it.
But no one else here did.
Listening. Listening at the door to nowhere.
Anything?
Shh. Did you hear that?
That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Available on Spotify, iTunes, Acast, Stitcher, and wherever good podcasts are found. Get early access to content by subscribing to the Tin Dog Podcast YouTube channel. You can support the show at patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on Twitter at tindogpodcast or email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. All of the things discussed are the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.